Okay, so you know when you think about Montgomery, Alabama, right? It's easy to just think, oh, state capital. But the stuff you sent me really paints this picture of a city that's got way more going on, a place where history isn't just something you read about. It's like everywhere you look.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, what really jumps out when you look into Montgomery is that contrast. Like you've got these huge moments from history right there, but then also this modern city with its own energy, its own thing going on. You can't help but think about how the past shapes things today, you know?
Totally. And it's not just serious historical stuff either. I
Hmm.
mean, it's obviously a big part of it, but your sources show this whole other side to the city. Cool nightlife, outdoor stuff, really good food, a lot to explore.
Right, it's got a real mix.
So that's exactly what we're doing today, a deep dive into what your sources call the 12 best things to do in Montgomery.
Hmm.
We're going to try and give you the real inside scoop.
Yeah, like a local's perspective.
Exactly. So first things first, how do you even start to figure out a place like this? It can be kind of overwhelming, right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that just jumped out from your sources is the idea of getting a local tour guide.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Yeah, they specifically mentioned this company called More Than Tours, run by historians and people who really know the city.
So you're not just getting like a generic tour.
Right. The idea is you get the stories behind the sites, you get the context. I mean, especially in Montgomery with all the history there, a guide can really make it come alive, you know?
Totally. It's one thing to just see a building, but another thing to hear about what happened there, like the actual stories of the people.
Exactly, the personal stuff, yeah. And your sources even recommend, bring your camera, ask lots of questions, really get a feel for it before maybe going back to places on your own later.
So it's like that guided experience gives you the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. And that leads right into what's clearly a central theme in your sources, the civil rights landmarks. Like, Montgomery was a huge part of the movement.
Absolutely. There are some places your sources talk about that you just can't miss, like the Dexter Parsonage Museum.
Right, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s home.
It's a museum now dedicated to his life. You can almost imagine him there, working, strategizing.
And that's what's powerful about it, I think. It makes someone like Dr. King, this huge figure, feel more real. You see where he lived. It brings his story down to earth in a way. And then there's the Dexter Avenue King Memorial Baptist Church.
Where he gave all those amazing sermons.
Can you imagine standing in that sanctuary, knowing the words he spoke there, the hope, the struggles he addressed?
I mean, wow. It must be so powerful.
Your sources really emphasize that. And of course, there's the bus stop.
Where Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, that one small act started a revolution. It's so important to actually
Yeah.
see that spot.
Absolutely. It reminds you that big change can start with one person's courage. These aren't just historical markers, They're like physical connections to this turning point in history.
Definitely. But Montgomery isn't just stuck in the past either, right? Your sources talk about this whole other energy to the city today.
Totally. There's this modern vibrancy that comes through, like the nightlife, for example.
Yeah, your sources actually call Montgomery one of the best places for jazz in the South, which I didn't expect.
Me neither. But then they also mention country music, Southern rock, like there's something for everyone.
That's so cool. So you can really experience the city through music.
Absolutely. And then there's the Montgomery Performing Arts Center, which your sources say gets all sorts of shows, Broadway, concerts, the whole deal.
So it's a real hub for entertainment.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you want something more low-key, local, there's this place your sources mentioned called Common Bond Brewers. They have live music, local artists, and their own craft beers.
Sounds like a perfect way to relax after a day of sightseeing.
Definitely. Okay, and back to the civil rights history for a second. We have to talk about the Rosa Parks Museum.
Oh, absolutely. That's a must-see. And it's not just a museum. It's actually right where she was arrested.
Wow, that must be really powerful.
It is. And they have a replica of the bus, interactive exhibits. It's not just looking at stuff behind glass. It's really trying to pull you into the story.
So it's engaging, not just a dry history lesson.
Exactly. And your sources mentioned they have all kinds of events, too. Lectures, guest speakers, even art exhibits.
Wow, so it's a really dynamic place.
Totally.
Okay, now for something totally different. This sounds fun.
Hmm.
The Sip and Cycle Cruise on the Alabama River.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one.
It sounds like a great way to see the city from a different angle.
Hmm.
You're on a bike, but it's on the river.
And your sources emphasize the social aspect, too. You get to meet people, chat while you're pedaling along.
Oh, I like that.
And great photo ops, apparently.
Definitely. Plus, you might get some insider tips from people who know the city.
Exactly, like where to eat, what bars to check out. That
Yeah.
kind of local knowledge is gold.
For sure. Okay, And back to civil rights history again, we have to talk about the Freedom Rides Museum.
Absolutely. I mean, the freedom rides are such a powerful story. Your sources really highlight the bravery of those activists who rode buses through the South to challenge segregation.
They face so much danger, it's incredible.
It is. And the museum really focuses on their story, the whole fight for desegregation. They even have personal letters from the writers, many of whom were so young.
Wow, under 22, some of them. That must be really moving to see.
It is. It makes the history really personal, you know? You connect with the individual people.
Totally. Okay, and then there's the Civil Rights Memorial Center and Memorial.
That's another must-see, according to your sources.
And it makes sense, with Montgomery being where the movement really started.
Exactly. And your sources talk about the interactive exhibits, the focus on the people who died fighting for civil rights.
It sounds really impactful.
It is. And they recommend going early to avoid crowds, which is good advice.
Definitely good to know. And your sources suggest combining a visit there with the Alabama Capitol Building and Dexter Avenue.
Yeah, it shows how interconnected everything is. You can almost trace the history of the movement through the city.
Okay, now for something a little more laid back, the Riverwalk.
Oh, yeah, the Riverwalk. That sounds really cool.
Your sources describe it as a real hub of activity. Live music, art, restaurants, little shops.
They mention this historic riverboat, too, the Harriet II, which does cruises and entertainment.
So there's a lot going on down by the river.
Definitely. And they have all kinds of events throughout the year, like 4th of July celebrations. It's a great place to just hang out, enjoy the vibe.
Totally. Now, for the literature fans out there, we have to talk about the F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald Museum.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one. It's their actual home from the 1930s.
Can you imagine?
They wrote some of their famous works there, too, like Save Me the Waltz and Tender is the Night.
Wow, that's amazing. So you can really feel the history. Like, those books were written right there in that house.
Exactly. And you can even stay there, which is pretty cool. Although your sources mention it might be haunted, so.
Oh, wow. That adds a whole other layer to it.
Yeah.
Okay, shifting gears now to something completely different. Montgomery Whitewater.
Oh, yeah, this place looks wild.
It's like an adventure park, but with water.
Whitewater rafting, kayaking, paddleboarding, all on man-made rapids.
So you can get that adrenaline rush without having to go out into the wilderness.
Exactly. But they also have zip lining, ropes courses, hiking, mountain biking. Like, they've got everything.
So you can really get your adventure fix.
For sure. Okay, now for something we all love, food. Montgomery is known for its southern cuisine, and your sources really dive into that.
Oh, the food. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
They specifically highlight Martin's restaurant and the classic meat and three plate.
Okay, break it down for me. What's meat and three?
They give this great example. Fried chicken, collard greens, mac and cheese, and fried okra, like classic southern comfort food.
It just sounds so good.
Yeah.
And hearty, like a real taste of the region.
But Montgomery's food scene isn't just about tradition. Your sources point out that there are more and more vegan options popping up, and some really upscale places, too.
So it's evolving.
Yeah, it's honoring the past, but also looking to the future.
I like that. Okay, last but not least for the sports fans. Your sources mention catching a game at the Montgomery Riverwalk Stadium, home of the Montgomery Biscuits baseball team.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a good time.
The sources talk about how enthusiastic the fans are and the whole classic ballpark experience. Hot dogs, peanuts, the works.
And it's right on the waterfront, which is cool. Plus, there's this tradition of going to local breweries after the game.
So it's a whole social thing.
Exactly. It's more than just a game. It's part of the whole Montgomery experience.
So, wow. As we wrap up this deep dive into Montgomery, what really strikes me is just how much there is to discover. It's clearly so much more than just a state capital.
Yeah, for sure. It's a place where history is alive, you know. You can see it, feel it everywhere.
But it's also a city that's looking forward, with all this cool stuff happening now. Art, music, food, adventure. It's got it all.
And it makes you think about how connected everything is. Understanding the history of a place, the struggles, the triumphs, the everyday lives of the people. It gives you a much deeper appreciation for what it is today.
Absolutely. It's all a part of the story.
Yeah, it all weaves together. And you know what? After looking at all this, I'm wondering, if you could go back in time and experience Montgomery at any point in its history, when would it be? Like, what moment would you want to be a fly on the wall for?
That's a good question. I think.
Huh?
Maybe.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but we'll have to save that for another time.
Definitely a conversation for another deep dive. Thanks for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.